wine dine combine, where the world of wines unfolds right before your eyes. We are here at 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚 𝐵𝐷𝐼 in Valletta, where we are welcomed by the owner, Monique Zammit, who is the face of Sciacca restaurant and is responsible for their wines. Thank you for having us here, Monique. You already poured us some wine when we arrived. Can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, I'd like to keep it a bit simple. At the beginning, if we're speaking and we're enjoying, let's keep it a bit simple. So at the moment, we're drinking a very nice Pinot Noir. I like to drink Pinot Noir as something light for me, especially coming from Burgundy. So at the moment, that's what we're drinking. I hope you're enjoying it.
Yes, of course. I always enjoy wines. So, Monique, can you tell us more about Sciacca Grill? It's a very renowned restaurant. You have two restaurants, one is in St. Julian's, one is here in Valletta. Can you tell us more about the concept behind it, why it's called Sciacca Grill, and how do you pronounce it actually? Most of the people in Malta had this problem.
Yes, everyone calls it Sciacca or Sciacca, or I don't know exactly. It's pronounced Sciacca Grill, and the concept is really simple. It's just enjoying in true authentic flavors. Like, we really don't touch the meat with anything except a sprinkle of salt and into our oven. We don't really, the food in itself, we like it to stay in its primitive flavors, so you can really taste the flavors of the food. And that's how it is for me, and obviously for my father, who's the owner of Sciacca. Then when it comes to food and wine, you're just really tasting the full flavors of everything. So for me, it's very simple. It's just a very simple cuisine. We're trying to leave the flavors speak for themselves, Nino. The food, the wine, even drinks, everything.
A Pinot Noir doesn't take a lot of time to open up. It's already very, very well balanced. Cheers, Monique.
Cheers. It's not complicated, it's simple. It's a single variety, you know.
It's quite deep color for Pinot Noir, but coming from Louis-Saint-Georges. Let's speak about the wine list. You have an extensive wine list, which is somehow never-ending story.
Ouch. It's so in Sciacca, I think for the past few years. Not now, few years, I've been having the same wine list, which really not really looks bad on paper, but because I never ever can finish it, ever. Like, it's, I think if you love wine and you have a lot of suppliers, we have so many suppliers in Malta, and they give you new wines to taste, and when you taste them, you say, it's not like I can say, no, because my wine list is done. I want to put them in my wine list because obviously it's a good wine. So I can never finish my wine list ever. I think it's because I have respect for certain wines, whether they're known wines, whether they're unknown vineyards coming from unknown producers. For me, it's all about the wine itself. So it's
personal attachment to the wine.
Yes, it's kind of like that. And so when I come to a client, and a lot of clients nowadays, they trust me with wines, and I come to speak about a certain wine in particular, they would trust me and they would take it.
Coming here as a client, I always have a nice bottle of wine and I always go for your suggestion. I mean, visiting the places, people get attached to certain wines because of their personal choice, because of their history with the wine, or because it simply matches their dishes, and they are the ones who are the best judgment, because you try that same dish over and over again, and you're trying to improve it, you work around it. Can you tell us more about that, matching the dishes with the wines? Are you training your staff? Are you, as a restaurateur, I mean,
Constantly.
what is that day-to-day job? What do you do to make them aware of the new wines, old wines, matching the food, new dishes?
Tasting, which they love. We do a lot of wine briefings, tastings in both restaurants. I have great staff that help me with that as well. With dishes, we see the dishes. If we feel that they need bolder selected wines, we go for much more bolder selected wines. We also like to not experiment, but like, let's say we just mentioned now we're drinking Pinot Noir. I wouldn't mind that I would match a Pinot Noir with fish, for example, you know, and you have to have clients that are willing to go for that. In reality, Pinot Noir goes very nice with fish since we're drinking.
Low tannins wine, smooth.
It's smooth.
Easygoing. Yeah.
So you're giving alternative options to clients.
We have that in fun facts within our show, but it's still to come though. So we'll not reveal our secrets. But tell us, you're speaking about being bold and experimenting with wines. Do you ever offer, this is a steakhouse per se, I mean, here in Valletta you are especially serving aged beef. Do you ever experiment by offering people white wine with the meat?
Yes, so much fun.
How acceptable the people are to that?
They're afraid, they're really afraid, but then again, it's a matter of them trusting you. If they trust you, they would go for it, no problem. But they are a bit afraid, and obviously bolder meat, I wouldn't say ever go aged meat with white wine. I wouldn't go as far as to say that because of the flavor. But I would say bolder meat, they go with very nice heavy white wines. Yes, aged white wines, you know? They would go very nice together. Again, it's a matter of trusting you.
A bit of uncommon question, but I know it's not really, you will not answer with wine, but what is favorite wine that you like to offer as a white wine with, let's say, heavy aged beef ribeye?
If a client chooses something aged, I need to have 100% feeling from that they know the aged beef, because not everyone likes aged beef. So I would suggest they can go for something like a white wine that's quite aged, like a Riesling can age, Gewürz that can age.
Gewürztraminer.
That can age. Something like that. Something that can withhold the aging. You know, even a Chardonnay can age in reality. It depends of obviously how they age the process.
But you wouldn't go with the meat with Chardonnay?
No, you would never go with, you know.
No, I'm just asking because you might have a client who insists having white wine. So obviously we'll try to accommodate him. How hard is to make their experience better? Because I know people come, they want this which doesn't match with the other, and then what happens that in reality they are destroying their own experience of the dish that they are having in the wine.
Yes, sometimes it just so happens.
Let me ask you, everybody has its own favorite wine. What is your favorite wine? Do you have one?
I wish I had one. I really, really wish. That's very hard for me to have a favorite wine. I am sometimes in the mood to drink, I don't know, a Chianti. Sangiovese, you know, Sangiovese grape. I'm sometimes in the mood to drink Barolo. I'm sometimes in the mood to drink, I don't know, a nice Chardonnay. You know, I think for me it's all about what I'm in the mood for, what the company is, you know. So I can never say my favorite wine. My favorite wine always changes when I try different wine constantly, and I try something new, something that I've never expected, you know, and it just, and I say, this is my favorite one, until I try something new again. So I think it's always, you know, wine is infinite. So for me, for myself, I can never say I have a favorite wine ever. I'm always impressed with new wines that come out with vintages, even the same wine with different vintages, a whole different profile. I'm always impressed. So I can never say I have one particular wine. I don't.
I know that you invest heavily in getting to know new wines, following the trends and so on. Recently went to France. I mean, it's always better to have the testing from the source than locally. But let's go back to Malta. Let's concentrate on local wines. What do you suggest? Because probably you have a lot of tourists now in the summer season. The restaurant is packed with tourists. So what would you suggest? Which local wines are you fancy of? Do you help them choose the local wine? Do you keep certain wines and certain you don't keep? How it's your view of this situation? I mean,
again, what I'm very happy lately, because this is something that recently, this just started, so very recently, that the Maltese people were before never drink local wines, they're now drinking local wines as well. So, okay, you might have the foreigners coming to Malta and they want to try your local wines. Of course, that's nice to sell. But I'm also happy with the local people that, go for the local wines that we're producing. So I'm very happy with that. And that's something that, I think is very important. But for tourists, first question I would ask them, what do you like when it comes to grapes? For example, I had a week ago, I think I had a client that said, oh, I don't like Chardonnay. I told her I don't like Chardonnay, and I started speaking with her. I said, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite wines, because all Maltese wines are my favorite wines, to be honest, but something I can recommend. And because she was so adamant about she doesn't like Chardonnay, I said, why don't you try, again, the story helps as well. Why don't you try the Antony Blanc? This is producing 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚, coming from 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚, our sister island, and how they're aging it, and the Chardonnay it's not so sharp, and
it's smooth with aging.
Yeah, and I go more in detail, and if you don't like it, madam, it's no problem. I open it, I give you to taste. It's no problem if you don't like it. I can remove the bottle, I keep it there, and after the service tonight, I will drink it myself. I can recommend something else. So don't feel like guilty. I wouldn't like that, if I open a bottle of wine, especially if it's local and they don't like it, I try, and I also tell everyone that works with me, all my colleagues, that don't feel pressured, we're opening it, you're gonna try it. If you don't like it, maybe it's not your palate, that's fine. But I'm gonna keep it on the side, and tonight I will drink it myself. So, it's you're making them feel comfortable, because even me, if I'm unsure about a wine and I really want to try it, how much I would need someone to tell me that listen, it's no problem.
To reassure you.
Yeah, it's no problem. If I want to open the wine, it's, I'm not going to charge you the wine, of course, because I love the wine and I'm going to drink it myself. And that's how but usually they all love the wines, that, especially foreigners, they give foreigners give very, very huge appreciation to wine. And then when I start speaking to them and explaining, look at the size of Malta,
Amazing terroir.
Nothing.
Amazing.
We have such a small size in Malta, and we're able to produce this good quality wine, amazing quality wine. So if we're gonna speak about Malta and our wines, so I had a few years back ago, way back when, you're still learning the wines, and I made a wine list. And in this wine list, I said sommelier selection, which I don't write it anymore in my wine list. And anyways, and I wrote all the sommeliers. And I had a Spanish, the second sommelier of Spain, dining in my restaurant. And obviously the first thing he asked was, give me a local red wine, which you think is very good. I will not mention what I gave him, but I gave him this red wine. And when he tried it, he smelled it, he tried it, he drank the whole bottle. He came on me and he said, look at your wine list. Look at your sommelier selection. Why do you not have this on the very top? Why? And this we're speaking about like 7 years ago. So, I was quite young, and I said, you're right. You're right. So nowadays I always put Maltese wines at the top selection because, I'm very proud of my country, and, to have sommeliers saying to you, what your country for such a small island is producing this amazing quality wine. You should have wines from all over the world because at the end of the day, we're a very cosmopolitan country. But our wines, our local wines, should be at the forefront of any wine list. And that's very important for me that I have that in my wines.
Guys, come and get some wine because you need to taste this one. Cheers.
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 Cheers, man.
Cheers. Nice.
Amazing. One, which criteria, how do you choose the wines for your wine list? What is the way that you say, okay, this wine will end up in my wine list and the other will not?
So for me, it's all about as I'm saying, Sciacca's quality. So for me, it's about quality. So when I speak about quality, I mean like when I try the wine and I know the vineyard and the history and how the wine is made and the technique is used, everything is about that. Obviously, everything is in the wine itself, in the glass. So when I try the glass, I would know. So recently I got a Spanish wine and it's such a beautiful wine. There's a story behind it. It's not a known vineyard, it's not a known producer at all. But there's such a sweet story, and then when you try the wine would blow your mind off. And it's a good price as well. It's like €35 bottle, like it's 35 euro bottle. And for me, that, and even when the clients try it themselves, they tell me, oh my God, this wine is like, it's like I'm drinking a super tasty.
You can mention which wine it is, I mean.
I kind of wish, I would love to, but still I don't, because then I have other producers of Spanish wines. It's like, why didn't mention my wine?
Oh, okay.
And again, it's giving respect to all wines also. Like all the wines I have in my wine list, trust me, I try them myself. I know the history, I know the story of them, so, but yes, again, and that's why I can never finish the wine list, because every time, they know how I am, so they tell me, Mom, try this wine, and this came from here, and just try it. And when I tried the wine in the glass, speak volume. Sometimes you don't even want to know anything, just, I try it and it speaks by itself. But it helps when it comes to know a little bit about where it's coming from, the vineyard itself, especially when it's a vineyard or it's a producer not known. So, you're giving respect to that as well. So for me, that's very important.
That is the answer of all the people who like wine and they are into wines. And it's very easy to say, okay, I don't drink wine, I don't want to try it, and I'm not going there. But once you start drinking and you start understanding the science and the hard work and everything that people behind that are doing, starting from the guy who is planting the wines, who is cleaning the ground, who is cleaning the roots, who is in touch with you can see it in their hands, you can see it in their lifestyle, you can see it in the simplicity around them. And in Malta, the terroir is really nice. I mean, we have limestone, we have
have a lot
sun,
of lime.
a lot of sun. I mean, 300 days of sunshine. Everybody is saying this for those tourist guys. It means more for the wine.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I'm not really a bake on the sun 300 days per year kind of guy, but I like my wine baked on the sun during the day. So
You like very heavy, full-bodied
very
wines.
heavy, full-bodied wines because the amount of sugar that they will get. If we are talking about balanced wines, yes. Once we are going for the matching with food, it's another story. But we are not here to talk about me and my preferences. I'm here to find out what you do to improve your knowledge about wines. We recently had that story about you going to France. You told me you went to Burgundy, you visited the Burgundy wineries. What is your experience from there? And what is something that you would wish that it's happening in Malta as well?
It needs more time in Malta, but we're starting there. You know, we're starting there. Even all the wineries, when they combine together and they make the tastings and everything, we're starting there. It needs more time, more involvement from the people themselves. But yes. It needs more time. I do think it's also something to do with knowledge. So I didn't fall, me personally speaking, I don't know about you, Nina, I didn't fall in love with wine, with just drinking wine. I actually studied wine. So once you study wine and once you understand that when you study it and then your palate by time, not just studying, because then it needs years for your palate to build up. So for me, again, it's wine is an ongoing, evolving learning. So I can never stop learning about wine. So I try every year to go in every country, different countries. So part of my experience would be to one day, and each country I do the same thing, is picking the grapes. So it's a very hard job. It's scorching heat. Oh, it's amazingly hard, but the benefits for me is, it's after you drink their wine, so that's my benefit for me.
I did that as a kid.
So yeah, but once you're in wherever you are, in any country, and you get to do it, for me, it's like I'm gonna enjoy this wine after. So, but yes. For me, it's all about the learning, and you don't stop learning. And you tell me more, but you need to go to countries. Well, I would be doing one whole year, looking forward for this 1 week experience that I have, and it's just for me and for my wine. So that's all about it. So I love wine, so that's just something I do for myself, and I look forward, believe it or not, for a whole year. Yeah, it's a huge learning experience. Burgundy was a huge learning experience because, yes, you can read about Burgundy, you can study about Burgundy, but once you're there, it's totally different. Totally different. The soil composition from Grand Cru to Premier Cru, they're next to each other, and how they are next to each other, it's unbelievable. You have to be there to experience it.
The plan is to go there and visit one day and make an episode here and there from different wineries, but again, something in the wrapping. Now, Monique, what do you think about current trends that people are going for fresher, sparkling wines, full with fruity flavors, sweeter wines? Do you see that happening in your place?
Yes, it does.
So champagnes are more prominent than the
Prosecco. Champagne with certain people, yes, but Prosecco, yes, it's gaining huge momentum.
More and more local producers, as well as the other foreign producers, getting into this business of producing wines champagne-like, meaning they are producing sparkling wines. They cannot call them champagne, but some of them are on pair quality with champagnes wines. Champagne's process is very well known now. Everybody tried to replicate it. Funny story, I know a guy in border with Slovenia and Italy who is producing the wine. He laid them down on the bottom of the sea. and instead of hand move the wines, the sea waves on the bottom gently spin the bottles around. Now, how many of those bottles survived? I didn't ask him, but
wow, that's nice.
it would be nice to taste this wine and the one done by hand to see if the nature make better. What can you say about the wines that you chose for presentation today?
𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐜𝐿 2017. It's an interesting wine I decided to show because of the fact that I've actually been in that vineyard, and that vineyard took me by surprise in the sense of I didn't expect that wine at all. That's 100% Cabernet Franc Pinot, and it just impressed me. It impressed me. I can't say anything else about it. It's considered as a super Tuscan. And how I'm selling this wine is again by explaining to them. It's not about the super Tuscan. It's not about the price in reality. It's explaining them my story, how I ended up there, without knowing anything about this vineyard. And me being there and then tasting all the wines, they were like, "Oh, but we get this wine." I was like, who is the supplier? They told me the supplier, and then I started getting this wine, and then the supplier themselves asked me, like, how are you selling this wine, like in boxes? Like how is it? Like, how did you know about this wine and now you're selling it so much? I'm like, I'm simple. I've been in their vineyard, like. So it's a very interesting wine. And this very funny story. I was with my father in Tuscany, and after seeing, because 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐜𝐿 is 5 minutes away from 𝐼𝐢𝐳𝐼, and so 𝐼𝐢𝐳𝐼 is here, 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚 is here, so they're 5 minutes away. And then you have the mother of all is the Sciacca looking at them. So, after me and my father visiting certain vineyards, in Tuscany, and nice vineyards, and again, after seeing going in 𝐼𝐢𝐳𝐼, we go into this very small, little, tiny vineyard called 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚, and outside of this vineyard is full of graffiti. It's their way of showcasing their wines. They have a very small production as well. It's just the vineyard is full of graffiti. It's really modern. It's really different. So my father, the first thing he was like, "Where did you get me? I don't like this." But I tell you, there's something here that's gonna impress us, like for sure. Like, because the 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐚, the vineyard, is situated a few feet away from the sea level, so it's as a position, as a location, it's very, very good, and it has something else to give due to the sea. And we tried their wines, and I was so impressed. I was amazed by it, because to have 100% Cabernet Franc grown in Tuscany, next to 𝐼𝐢𝐳𝐼, next to Sciacca, God, I love them for their experimentation and for doing what they're doing, and they're doing such an amazing job.
Anything else from the selection?
Come to them. So that I've been working with, as I said before, like there are wines that I can never say I stop them because they're part of me, and that bottle, as you can see, the bottle is not a beautiful bottle, and it's coming from Lebanon region. So, and for me, that wine, it's something that when I come to a guest and I explain the wine and I show them the bottle, they'll be like, "Mon, what are you selling me?" But again, when they know you and they know your palate and they know what you're offering to them, it's easier to sell. So come to them. It's a wine done greatly. It's from Paceville. It's using Bordeaux wines, Bordeaux techniques, Bordeaux. It's written Bordeaux all over it. It's just coming from Lebanon and Paceville. And it's a surprising wine as well. The bottle is, as I say always to the clients, like, don't look at the bottle. You know, it's
Never look
what's
at the bottle.
inside that counts. And
Never look at the bottle.
yes, and it's such a surprising wine. And this is what I like to showcase always with people. And the price of it is amazing.
And also, since we are on the subject, tell us a bit more about Sciacca. Tell us that 15-year anniversary that we mentioned is coming up. Tell us more how that's going to influence your work. I mean, 15 years of experience, 15 years of Sciacca being one of the best restaurants. If not the best, I mean, one of the best. That's what I'm saying. So,
no, I would never say the best restaurants because, no. I don't look at that. I look at, me and all my team that work with me, all my, colleagues that work with me, and they do a very hard job. We try our best, we do our best. We're all humans at the end of the day, like anyone else. We have our mistakes, we make mistakes, but we try our best. That's the most important part. And consistency, which is the hardest to keep. And I think what I am proud of with all my team members is that they have consistency.
And being in catering industry so many years, how that impacts person? I know that it has a toll on so many levels. I mean, been there, done that. But how that impacts you? Do you see the world with different eyes?
Yes.
Do you see the world with different aspects towards the food, wine?
Yes.
When you visit new place, do you behave differently than you were before you were having the restaurant?
I would say I become worse because in the sense, nowadays, because I work so much in catering that when I'm off and I go out to eat in a restaurant, honestly, I can't be bothered. Honestly, I'm there, I'm enjoying. I rarely have a day off, so I just want to enjoy, So I'm the least picky person, the least picky client, because I am there. I can understand them. So for me, it's like, sit me down, give me drinks, give me food. If the food comes late, it's okay. I'm drinking wine. I'll find some, I'm really easygoing because I can understand. And when you work so hard and you have a day off, trust me, you'll be so chill, so relaxed. As long as you have a day off, it's very important.
We need to keep this show short, so let's speak after this. I mean, let's see the dishes, let's taste them, and then we'll speak again.
Cheers.
Cheers.